We do. Welcome everyone to our Friday contemplative practice. I'm Joanne and I'll be hosting the session today. Every Friday at noon, we offer contemplative practices from different spiritual traditions to help us to center and ground in body, mind, and spirit. Today, will lead us in an interspiritual meditation. Barbara has invited us to bring pen and paper or drawing materials to the session if we feel so inclined. And if you would like to gather any of those materials, now would be a good time to do that. A bit about Barbara. Barbara has been a part of the CCC community for a number of years and has been nourished by a range of spiritual practices, most especially Judaism, Buddhism, and earth-based spirituality. Since completing her training at the Spiritual Guidance Training Institute, Barbara maintains a practice of spiritual direction, companioning individuals and small groups on their spiritual journeys. Barbara can be reached at spirituallyfluid19@gmail.com. The practice will last about 30 minutes and then we'll open the room for sharing afterwards. The practice is recorded and the sharing time will not be. You'll be able to unmute during sharing time. And now I would like to hand it over to Barbara. Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you all for joining this today. I think it's just maybe 6 weeks or so ago that I offered an interspiritual meditation practice on a Friday. And I just wonder how many of you were there? If you remember, yeah, okay. So, and how many of you?
Are you talking about the meta?
No, I'm talking about this. The interspiritual meditation practice was developed in collaboration with many other people by Ed Bastian a number of years ago, and he's written and developed programs that draw upon all of, or I don't know if it's all, but many of the world's big traditions. And so I'll just give you a little more background about interspiritual meditation if you're not familiar with it. Are there any, or interspirituality, are people sort of familiar with that or no? Yeah. Okay, so he was interested in going beyond interfaith explorations. His observation was that interfaith conversations seek harmony and seek, an understanding of one another's practices and so forth. But the word that he or perhaps others chose in relationship to interspirituality is exploration. And it's really exploring deeply what is underneath and what connects perhaps from all the different traditions and different ways in which we practice or which we do contemplative practices. For me, it's interspiritual speaks to me because it really helps to connect with just some of the deepest principles that matter, I think, in all of the world's traditions, and not just religious traditions. It can be, the secular traditions as well. So he spent quite a number of years with some very big people in various traditions and together they work together and talk together to come to some understanding of what, it's not exactly just what they have in common, but what the essence is that matters in all of the traditions, although the expressions of it can be different. And then with that, he and some others created a 7-step practice, a meditation practice that I think addresses most of the essential truths or foundational practices, foundational beliefs from most of the different traditions. And it's a 7-step piece, although it's not like one from each of the different, as I understand it, doesn't seem to be one from Buddhism, one from Sufism, one from Judaism. It doesn't feel to me it's like that. It's more like, what is it underneath all of that? So folks I know have been using this in a variety of creative ways. And I just, my Spiritual Guidance Training Institute program has taken to having a weekly meditation time with alumni and students of that program, kind of focusing on this practice. And it's been very interesting to see the ways in which people have used this structure. So I'm going to borrow from my colleagues as well, in particular from a student named Jan McCabe, who has done a lot of work in finding creative ways to do. Some people have used the 7 steps connected with music or with art or with all different kinds of things. But what I'm going to do today is to spend some time in the practice, and the way that it will work is that I will speak about each of the 7 steps one at a time. And in this today, I'm going, and then give time for you all, for all of us, to meditate on that particular step. For example, the first one is, may we be happy and healthy. And so I will speak the step. And in today's practice, I'm also going to just share a brief quote with each of the steps from an author who I learned about when I was in my training, and my colleague also has found very helpful. And I'm going to be quoting, this is Mirabai Starr, who some of you may know about her, but the book I'm going to be quoting from today as I go along with this is Wild Mercy, the subtitle of that being Living the Fierce and Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics. So she's been a valuable asset for me in the interspiritual path, and this book is focused on women mystics, but it's really also quite wonderful. So my plan is to, again, take one step at a time of the 7 steps, speak the step, speak a quote from Mirabai Starr's Wild Mercy, and then stay in silence for about 2 to 3 minutes after each step. And then in that time of silence, I would invite you to write or reflect, whatever it is that makes sense to you in that moment on the step. And then I'll ring the bell and we'll go on to the next step. Am I making sense? All right. Okay, good. All right, so just invite you to arrive in this moment, in this place, to settle into your body, to your spirit, to come here with what you've been experiencing in the last few minutes, maybe in the last few hours, from the moment you woke up this morning until now, to arrive with all of what you've experienced so far today, and then to expand that beyond, to arrive with your experiences of the last few days, of the last week, perhaps from the last time you were in this space. And then moving further out, I invite you to arrive with all that is true in this season of your life, knowing that whenever we show up in this moment, we bring all of our past experiences and thoughts feelings, longings into this moment. So I just invite you to be present to all of the ways in which you arrive and welcome all of yourself. Now I'm going to begin the interspiritual meditation. And the first step is to reflect on, may we be happy and healthy. And from Mirabai Star, I quote, when we allow ourselves to be a conduit for creative energy, we become a channel for grace. Bring down your colors. Break open your box of song. Beauty lifts us up. May we be happy and healthy. Just take the next couple of minutes to reflect in whatever way feels right to you. The next step for reflection, may we be grateful. And from Mirabai, may we be grateful, beloved one, our sister, Mother Earth, sacred woman, holy girl, crucible of mercy and fire of truth. Thank you. We have called and you have come. Thank you. Thank you. And again, we give thanks. May we be grateful. And next, may we be transformed. And from Mirabai, I invite you to abandon your efforts to fix yourself and instead reclaim your innate beauty and worth as a luminous cell in the body of Mother Earth. Enter the garden where walls melt and trees blossom. May we be transformed. May we be loving and compassionate. And from Mirabai's Wild Mercy, she writes, every wisdom tradition on the planet emphasizes that compassion is the quintessence of the holy. Forgiveness is the very face of the divine feminine. Each time we allow mercy to enter the shattered spaces of our hearts, we participate in the divine nature. To forgive ourselves is to forge a contract with the Divine Mother. I will mirror you in my soul. Yet this is not so much a decision as an allowing. May we be loving and compassionate. Next, may we be mindful through our breathing. And from Mirabai, breathe some perspective back into life. Give yourself a breath and look in all the directions before stepping up to mend the world. May we be mindful through our breathing. Next, may we be wise in meditation. And from Mirabai, indwelling lover, bread, wine, candlelight, everything belongs. Everything belongs. May we be wise in meditation. And the last step in this process, may we be in service to all. Mirabai writes, the Rinpoche shared an ancient practice that involved offering prayers and intention while filling a clay vessel with sacred objects and then burying it in a region in need of healing. This treasure vase practice is changing from something we are doing to something we are being. We must all become the vessels for healing in this world. May we be in service to all. Thank you all for participating in this. Hopefully there was something of value. Just would invite us to close the practice in a way that feels meaningful to you. Might be a bow or putting hands on your heart or just a thought that you're sharing, and to honor yourselves individually and one another for sharing in this practice together. Thank you for being here.